Afternoon, Justice Warriors. We're back again for the afternoon live. Thank you for joining me. Let me get another quick drink of water. I drink water all day, but there's just never enough. Never enough. As long as I remember to drink it, then it's really bad when I don't remember to drink it. So I guess I'm just super thirsty today. Sorry, one sec. All right. So I'd like to get started just for a quick live. A couple things I wanted to discuss with you guys. I always like to open with my disclaimer that everything I say is simply my opinion and it is for the sake of conversation, hoping to start a discussion, trying to be educational and made specifically for YouTube platform. Hey, Pixie Knickers, good afternoon. And as we all know, YouTube is an entertainment platform. So I like to include that. Discussing about the Idaho 4. Hey, Michael McAllister. Hey, Squirrel Girls. I don't know. Do we have Squirrel Girls in the house? Good afternoon, Sifa. Hey, Susan. Good afternoon, you guys. We are just filling up quick. All right. So let's get down to business. First things first. I made a mistake in my spiel this morning, or my video this morning, and I was talking about the Dateline. I was talking about Keith. Oh, I'm so sorry. Keith Morrison from Dateline. He's awesome. So I was thinking that Keith Morrison was with 48 Hours, and I had seen the 48 Hours video, or whatever you want to call it, documentary, and was not impressed. But I was speaking highly about Keith Morrison, despite the fact that I was thinking he was affiliated with 48 Hours. He's not. He's affiliated with Dateline, which makes a lot more sense. I've heard great things about the Dateline one. I have not caught it yet, but I did catch the new Paula Plunder where she kind of goes over the Dateline and the 2020. I don't think she even bothered mentioning the 48 Hours. I am a squirrel girl. You're funny. And Larissa's here. Larissa's listening as she cooks. That is awesome. Yeah, Ara did a video the other day while she was cooking, and it was really fascinating. I wasn't going to watch it at first, but I'm so glad I did. She's awesome. And yeah, she's like, I'm not a really good cook, but I'm not a really bad cook either, which I just thought was cute. Anyway, so I just wanted to make that correction about Keith Morrison. He's with Dateline, not 48 Hours. You guys probably knew that. But more importantly, I wanted to talk about, if anybody has any information, I am very curious about the process of applying with the Pullman Police Department that the criminal defendant had allegedly applied for an internship with Pullman PD. And I'm just curious if they had scheduled an interview or if they had interviewed him. It's sort of like they are pretending that they never even responded to his application, which I would think would be unusual unless he had just applied in the last few days before all this crap. But I do know that the Washington State University has completely cut all ties with him, like he didn't exist as a student there. Karen Ann says, damn, I'm going to have replay in the morning, bedtime calling. Dinner time in Scotland. Very cool. Alistair Grant. All right. Yeah, definitely get your rest. That's so important. Replace pinned message. So, just going over the chronology of how things played out. And I did get a chance to look at the map of Pullman and see exactly where the, what is it called? The Tiptoe Apartments or something like that, where the criminal defendant lived. And then the other apartment where the SWAT team guy lived. I know I wrote him down because it's all so complicated. And I took screenshots. So it's basically 2 miles from their apartments, from one to the other. And it's kind of a straight shot on one road, basically, that just cuts through campus. So one is at the north end of campus where the criminal defendant was living, and then um, the one who was shot by the SWAT team, he lived at the south end of the campus. So I still think that leaving that sheath was a plan, and I think that that was a plan to throw off the investigation. I also want to add that I feel like it was part of a sick, twisted um, fantasy. You guys have probably heard some other creators talk about Pickering and just that fantasy of penetrating another person with an instrument. So I don't want to talk too much about that, but I feel like that sheath was left as kind of an indication that it was actually um, a sex crime, so to speak, loosely. Um, oh, thanks, Pixie Knickers. That's so sweet of you. I can't highlight that one. That would just be too silly, huh? I'll highlight the dinner time in Scotland. So anyway, I don't like talking about SA because to me it's just the most disgusting thing in the world. However, I feel like it's not doing this case. I feel like it's doing this case a disservice to not look at that possibility because to me it's very very much a phallic symbol. The knife is, and also the sheath, and leaving it on the bed next to Madison. It's creepy, creepy AF. So, um, let's see. Oh, another fact I found. So I just was getting back on to nail down a few nuggets that I was looking up today. The dad of the criminal defendant flew out to Washington State on December 11th. So for anybody who didn't know that or was wondering, um, December 11th, and then that SWAT team incident started on December 14th, and I think that the situation extended overnight and ended on the 15th. Technically, the 15th was when the dad and the criminal defendant were driving through Indiana and got pulled over twice. But the fact that they drove south to Interstate 70 is just mind-boggling. I was looking at those maps again too, trying to figure out why. They actually went through a lot more national parks by doing that. So I don't know if that would have had anything to do with it. But what if the criminal defendant had not seen um, the witness, the eyewitness, the night of the crimes? What if he had no idea that Dylan was there? And what if he had just found out that she was there by reading the affidavit? Pretty mind blowing, huh? Pretty mind blowing idea. So, it seems to me that the criminal defendant's family knew that he was dangerous, knew that he had a lot of issues, and that, you know, sometimes you're not doing your child, a, you're doing them a disservice to give them too much independence when they've proven that they can't handle it. So it seems that the parents had a pretty good handle on understanding that their son was not normal and that he was not going to be normal. The fact that he dropped out of high school and got his GED and then was getting himself together and getting his college degree and his master's degree and then going on to pursue his doctoral degree, that's all great. However, the social end of things is so, so important, just paramount, especially through college. So I don't feel like they are innocent. I don't feel like his family is innocent in this whole situation. Um, that's just my gut. My instinct tells me that they knew something was terribly wrong. Maybe they just had their heads in the sand. Denial is not just a river into Egypt, I always like to say. So let's see, what else? Not a lot. Let me Oh, something I didn't mention earlier, that I wanted to was about the floor in the crime scene and the footprints. We all know that there was that van latent shoe print that was lifted from right in front of Dylan's door, and that was the second crime scene investigating crew that went in and found that. So that leads me to believe, and I know I've heard other people speculate about it too, that somebody might have cleaned the floor, right? What do you guys think? Do you think that that indicates that the floor had been wiped up? Because it was a latent footprint. So not something that was seen with the naked eye, basically. I'm pretty sure he knew how many people were there just by the cars outside. Yeah, yeah, it's so hard to say. There's a lot of weird with this case. And as I mentioned in the video earlier today, one of my biggest questions, most burning questions, is what's going on with that photograph from the corner club 2 hours before everybody were slaughtered. Why was that dropped? Why was that leaked? And then is it in fact Jack D that's sitting on the bar stool talking to the girls? And who's the guy with the face that's been erased? To me, that's like the most pressing issue right now. So, all right, you guys. So I don't have a lot for you. I feel like a lot of this case has been talked about. I don't want to be repetitive, but I do want to hammer home what I was saying this morning about not buying into these uh, mysterious callers on YouTube channels that have their insider information that just seems so wrong to me on so many levels. Like I had said earlier, if they actually do have that insider information and they have taken it to the authorities, like this one claims that she took it to the authorities, why is she not keeping a lid on it? Why is she being disrespectful to the investigation by divulging all this information? To me, it feels like the information is fake. That's just my take on it. Squirrely Burger says, I do want to say that after your show yesterday, for some reason, Olivia's interview came on, and I think Kim sounds like Kaylee's mom. Interesting. Wow. Holy kaboli. That is bizarre. Chew on that for a while, huh? She talks very fast like Megan does, like you said. She does. She doesn't talk anywhere near as fast as Megan. Actually, on the channel that she called into or that called her back, they said that they accelerated the speed of the interview, of the phone interview with her. And even at the accelerated speed, she's still not speaking as fast as MC would when she was calling into all these shows. But her kind of the way she talks, the way she frames things is extremely parallel to everything in that Kylie Rodney case with that person that kept injecting herself into panels, MC. That's what I was going by as well, but in Olivia's interview, she talks that fast. Oh, okay, you're talking about in Olivia's interview with the gotcha. I follow. See, I haven't watched Olivia's interview. I don't know that I can. I mean, I guess I could, but I just have such an issue with the lack of credibility with that content creator. It's a huge issue for me. I'd feel terrible saying anything derogatory about any channel, period. But that's one of the handful that I will make an exception for because I just have a very hard time with it. Some of the things that she's done in the past, I just think are beyond questionable. And A lot of these content creators that want to make a big splash and they want to get a big paycheck, um, to me, they're not just desecrating the cases that they cover, they're ruining the whole like YouTube experience for everyone. In my opinion, there's so many responsible content creators, and then it just takes, one bad apple to ruin the whole batch, and everybody wants to put all the YouTube content creators into one batch. So it's unfortunate, and I just don't have a lot of tolerance for it. So I try to just focus on the positive, but I know that one keeps coming up again and again because of that interview. So Squirrely Burger says, at first I felt like it was very heartfelt, the section that true crime and faith played, but I changed my mind after your show when it came on. Well, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that, and I want to say thank you for having faith in what I'm saying, and at the same time, take what I'm saying too with a grain of salt because we all need to figure out for ourselves what sounds right and what feels right. Exactly what is the waters for everybody? I don't know what that means. And Laura Daddy says, "What did I miss? Dilly Owens, I just got here. I think I might know who you're talking about if you want to share." So, yeah, we were talking about the woman who said her name was Kim, and she said that she had two kids that were students at Washington State University, and she called into the inebriated animal show, and that was being presented as fact. And, you know, the people presenting the show said, well, we did our due diligence and we, checked out, everything checks out. It's just really, um, to me, it's just crazy. It's just really compromising uh, people's ability to discern what's what with this case. And just injecting a whole lot of doubt into a whole lot of areas, and I think it's dangerous. I think it's really irresponsible, and that it can have extremely damaging repercussions for justice, for the victims, for the families. So I kind of feel like I'm being a little bit of a bitch, but at the same time, it's just so important to me to try to do what I can to preserve the integrity of the whole situation. And all I can do as a little small YouTube channel is talk about these things honestly. I really dislike saying anything negative about any content creator or saying anything negative about anybody, period. However, this is a situation where I feel like it's really important. So I just want to say beware, people, beware of the, you know, those who want to muddy the water. I mean, essentially, that's what MC did in the Kylie Rodney case. She really muddied the water and she just kept muddying the water. And she's probably still muddying the water for all I know. Um, but I feel like that's what's going on with that person who says her name is Kim and says she's from Seattle. I don't know. Let me read a few of your comments and then keep this one short and wrap it up. Um, Squirrely Burger says, I'm saying the combination of the logic you were speaking in your show and then hearing the interview from Olivia just saying, like I said, that's really sweet, and I'm glad that you feel like I'm logical. I try. Most of the time, I feel like I'm logical. Sometimes I get a little loopy, and I try to reel it in when I'm feeling a little loopy. Like yesterday, I felt super loopy. I just had not gotten good sleep the night before last. So I did get clarity around the 4 hour Watts the Obsession panel discussion from last night that I was not a participant in. And then it was just simply the night before that. So the night before last, Sunday night, that I was a participant in a 4 hour panel discussion of hers. And Kelly just rocks. For anybody who's not familiar with What's the Obsession, I recommend checking it out. I know it's hard to check out new channels when you're trying to keep up with the ones that you already like. But she's just really good. She's really specific. She's really kind and caring. Um, her panel discussions do get very long, but there's so many different ideas going into them and so many people putting in their 2 cents. And she does a really good job of keeping people on track and keeping people out of the weeds and keeping people from going too deep over yonder. Um, but she does do some shorts too. So you could, just check out a quick video of hers that's a couple minutes long to see if you're interested in more. But I just think so highly of her. I think she's amazing. Hello, Jazz and Justice Seekers. Hey, Kathleen. The bad YouTubers muddy the water for everybody else. Well, like that one who wasn't even a YouTuber, the TikToker, the one who is getting sued by the professor that she claimed was responsible for the quadruple slaying. um that's just devastating. It's devastating that a TikToker would do that to a person, and it's devastating that it's made the headlines again and again, and people consider that TikToker like a YouTuber, and they throw all of us in the pot with her. Like, it just takes that one. Like, the rest of us aren't out here doing that type of thing. I mean, we're asking questions, we're trying to seek answers. Um, let's see. Sifa says, by the way, I'm going to call Nevada County and question them since you have history and some of the legal stuff. Do you have any advice on how I should word it and what I should say? Wow, what a good question. I'd say email me because, yeah, that's so specific. Hold on one sec. And Pixie Knickers, thank you. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. Um, so in asking Nevada County for like the Kylie Rodney file, for the Trinity Bacchus file, um, I would think that they both are allegedly closed cases, so you should be able to just ask for the entire file, and then if and when they respond, well, you said you're going to call. Um, and like I was saying yesterday, that I think it's best to email, but sometimes calling is good too. And then you can call and say, who is it that I would email to get these records? So that's what I would recommend, calling them up and asking them for the correct email address and the correct person to address. And then, like I said before too, just being very polite and professional and speaking to them like they're just a regular person, because they are. And they're dealing with a lot with these county jobs and having to deal with people from all over the country probably calling to get public records. I know they were swamped at one point in time, but it's their job. That's what they signed on to do when they took their job and when they come to work each day. Laura Daddy G, Laura Daddy God says, I laughed at the ex FBI agents and others saying killer can use DNA to prove he didn't do it. Oh my goodness. And I've said it before, just because somebody is a retired FBI doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. It was like a retired FBI guy who started pointing the finger at Kaylee's dad at some point, and that was just appalling. I'm going to speed read through some of these. Let's see. Michael McAllister says, hi, everyone, and I will be back on after a little while. I have to run to the store and we'll be back. I just wanted to tell everyone hello and thank God for everything you all do. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna just speed read through the last few comments, and then sign off. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover coming on here. Um, Dilly Owen says, all but she will stand up. Somebody was driving her crazy or driving me crazy, and she took care of that and said, somebody smoking crack speaking. Kind of hard to follow what you're saying, but maybe you're referring to the whole thing about the drug allegations that um, the 1122 King Road house being a place where deals were going on, which, I can't say that it is or it isn't, but it doesn't really appear that that's a big element. There is one element of the party situation, though, that there was a party the night before the homicides where like 150 people were there allegedly. So yeah, when you have a college house party with 150 people, there's going to be substances going on, I would think. That's just kind of logical. Um, Something about touch DNA, don't care, he did it. Yeah, it's, you know, the DNA is really the sticking point right now. I thought that you didn't trust Olivia because of the water bottle evidence from the Gabby Petito case. Yes, that's one of the things. Did I misunderstand just now? Are you singing a completely different tune now? I am still on that same wavelength. Tammy Lynn, thank you for asking. So yeah, it was the water bottle with the Gabby Petito case. I thought that was absolutely atrociously crazy insane. And there was some other there's been other things since then. I just try to not focus on it. But her name keeps coming up because of the interview that she just had with the Gonzalez family. And yeah. So, does that answer your question? Larissa says, I know I've been being tagged in the info about the lady that's being charged. Oh, what lady that's being charged? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Larissa. I know you're covering another case. Huh. Did anyone see the lawyer on Fox News? I think it was. I don't think it was Fox News. I know I've seen that the lawyer has been speaking out quite a bit. Let's see. I'm going to question them, Sifa says, about why they put a stamp on Trinity's, like why they are having it confidential. Right. Right. When somebody's a minor, I think that they have that leeway. So they'll take it if they can, I'm sure. Tammy Lynn says, also on the topic of the knife sheath, I've always believed he left it on purpose. I don't think the knife that goes in the sheath will be consistent with the wounds on the victims. And I call that a double red herring, Tammy Lynn. We've talked about that a little bit in the last few lives. That yeah, I'm with you. I have always thought that he probably planted that knife sheath on purpose, but then that other red herring of it potentially not matching the knife that was used on the victims. Oh, it's just so disgusting. So disgusting. At the start of the case, law enforcement also were looking for not only a K-bar, but also a Rambo knife. If they had the sheath, why wouldn't they be positive about what knife to look for? Um, right. Well, they were also confused about what car to look for. That was one thing that I asked the chat this morning, and I don't know if anybody has been able to surmise or determine what type of car the SWAT team victim drove. I'm not saying that there's any kind of connection between the two of them. Um, but I am also just wanting to question if by chance he happened to have a white Elantra. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? That'd be absolutely insane. But let's see. Brent, that's his name. Um, and I think his initials are the same as the criminal defendant's, BK. So it gets a little confusing. But I don't know if anybody has come to the information of what type of car he drove. If you do and you want to email me, that would be great. Um, the one who's making us all look bad, the sleuther that's being charged. Are you talking about the one on TikTok? The one, um, yeah. So yeah, she's being sued, but she's not being arrested, is she? I mean, she maybe should be charged both criminally and civilly. No, I'm not talking about the drugs, but I am independently looking into them and the five-star rehabs meth clinic, Sand and Pullman. Wasn't Trinity a police officer's daughter? Could that be why? Trinity's stepdad was, still is, a Nevada County sheriff's deputy. So, yeah, that's a really good point, Larissa. Christopher Stanio, Deputy Christopher Stanio, was married to Trinity's mother, but then they were divorced, but there may or may not still be a connection there. But yeah, very, very good point. Thanks so much for bringing that up. I'm glad that we got to that before wrapping up for today. So here we are past half an hour. My goodness, the time just flies when you're doing the chat. If the killer planted the sheath, he left his DNA on it, so stupid and guilty. Right, especially if he planted it thinking that he had cleaned all the DNA off of it. That's kind of funny. Sifa says Morris Christopher Stanio. Is that what you're talking about? I heard she's being charged. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I'd say that's kind of good because I mean she just went nuts with that and it was ridiculous. And I don't think even getting sued was slowing her down. Like she was just hell bent. So that's just bizarre. Morris, the one in trouble. Is Morris the one in trouble? I don't know which who that is, Sifa. Crime and crochet are my hyper focus. Hey, lady. Personally, I don't think BLK was an accomplice of BCK. I did a breakdown of times, dates, and in my opinion, they're not connected. Good to know. Yeah, I would think that it would be more likely of a like a setup for BLK being like the fall guy for BCK, more so than being an accomplice, being a scapegoat, basically. Um, all right, you guys. Dilly Owens says, hey, Larissa and everybody else, I thought I said put men. I was talking about BK. Yeah, I'm staying up 3 and 4 nights in a row and losing so much weight on VK back. I'm confused. I guess I'll highlight that so people know what I was trying to read, but I'm totally confused by that one. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I thought it would be the one who faked the audio. Yeah, those. Oh, thank you. I gotcha, Sifa. I follow Joseph Morris. I gotcha. Um, right. And weren't they in cahoots for something? Olivia and Joseph Morris, didn't they do something collaboratively together that was just like so wrong? I am not sure. Anyway, I'm going to hell in a handbasket. I'm not the one staying up losing weight, BK. I'm going to shut my mouth. Okay, you guys, I am going to wrap it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Take the rest of the day off if you can, and if you can't, maybe you can just kind of flip that switch in your mind and pretend like you're taking the rest of the day off. Put your feet up, be easy on yourself, get your exercise, your fresh air and sunshine, drink your water, eat your produce, your fruits and veggies, and your protein, and stay away from sugar and stay away from rude people, stay away from mean people. And on that, you guys have a great afternoon and evening, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, sending you light and love.